Republicans are celebrating this morning after taking back control of the House in a big way.
Yeah, well, one of the Republicans we're going to be hearing a lot more from is Congressman Darrell Issa, a Republican from California. He's set to become the next chairman of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform and potentially could be a thorn in President Obama's side. Congressman, thanks for joining us this morning.
Well, thanks, Savannah. You know, they've called me the annoyer-in-chief at the New York Times. I'm hoping that they begin to see that I want to be the reformer-in-chief and make this administration more effective and certainly cut down on the waste in government.
Well, let's talk about that. And you and I have talked about this in the past. You know, a lot of chairmen in your position of the other party have used the position to annoy and harass and, frankly, score political points on the president. Will you resolve not to do that? And what's your internal gut check? Will you ask yourself before you conduct an investigation, would I be doing this if this were a president of my own party?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm going to be investigating a president of my own party because many of the issues we're working on began on President Bush or even before and haven't been solved. Certainly, when we look at the failures of Freddie and Fannie, the countrywide scandal, those all began during President Bush's time. When we look at Mineral Management Service and the ultimate failure in the Gulf, that began years before. So I hope to try to bridge with hopefully ranking member towns who I've learned to work very well with. I'm hoping to bridge that multiple administration in as many places as possible when the enemy is the bureaucracy, not necessarily the current occupant of the White House.
Well, let me ask you this, Congressman, what is the first thing you want to investigate? What's the first subpoena you plan on issuing to the White House?
Well, I don't have any subpoenas to the White House. I have several hundred letters, most of which have not been responded to, that I'm going to ask the White House to dust off and answer our questions. Some of them are obsolete, but most of them are still important. We're going to begin looking at those issues I discussed. We're going to look at everything from food safety to the countrywide scandal, which is not at the door of the president. Undoubtedly, there will be mistakes made by the president. Certainly, I've been a critic of how they try to score jobs created or saved under the stimulus. But at the same time, I want to start working with this administration to make things work better. I will be asking the president to give subpoena authority to all 74 inspector generals. I'll offer a bill this coming or 2 weeks from now to do just that, because I think it's the government employees, the IGs, that are so important that they do their job so this administration can be better. And I look forward to strengthening those internal controls. When I was in corporate America, that's the first thing I learned is that a CEO doesn't do his own auditing. He finds good people to do it independently.
Congressman, you made a lot of hay about the old Acorn investigation. Is that something you continue to want to investigate, or is that old news as far as you're concerned?
Well, I think it's very important that we look at Acorn as something that occurred. It was criminal activity, and it used government money and nonprofit money both to do politics. There's certainly going to be other examples on the left and on the right where we at least have to deny them nonprofit status and government money if what they're doing is being overtly political. And I want to continue on that on a nonpartisan basis with my ranking member. But I do think that the people understand that Acorn needed to go away. It went away. And we're going to continue to make sure there's no new equivalent. But, you know, we've got to move on to the real question of jobs. This economy is sputtering. It's not doing what the American people need to do to get them back to work. So I think that a lot of what we're going to do on my committee is to go after things that are going to help people in their real lives. And that's going to be a real priority, whether it's food safety or government waste or government regulations that are slowing up people hiring back unemployed workers. All those areas are more important to be put first for the American people.
All right, Congressman Darrell Issa, your press office does send out around a lot of the clips that you get when folks talk about your role that is now coming up as the next chairman of the House Government Reform Committee. Thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Our job is to lead now. We'll do it. Thank you.